I would say a friend. I got Andre Smith on here, former O lineman at Bama, played in the league for, gosh, I don't know. How many years did you play in the league? A while, a long time.
Uh, yeah, long time, more than a decade.
More than a decade. Yeah, we'll roll with that. So, more than a decade as a professional athlete. So, man, welcome. And as always, I want to kick it off and I want you to share, introduce yourself and then just kind of share a wild, funny story. It could be a locker room story. It could be something crazy a Pee Wee coach has told you, maybe a wild story in the league. But what you got for us, man?
Oh man, wild story. Man, Whew. Put me on the spot.
Probably too
Let
many,
me,
actually.
let me think. Let me think. Uh, what was this one time we were working out right in college at Bama? This one, Coach Saban first got there. This was, I think it was '07, and we were doing the off season program leading to the training camp, and it was myself, another defensive lineman named Josh Chapman. He and I were like we were in the big guy group, so to speak. And then there was another guy who I care not to mention his name. So we were uh, we were doing some extra conditioning. It was like 6 a.m. run. So it's basically just us three out there, and we're grinding, we're pushing each other, we're getting better, and um, one of the players, not Josh, the unnamed player. He was like, no, we got to keep running, man. We got to get you to make sure you got ready to go for the season. He's like, nah, my stomach hurt, coach. And Cochran's like, nah, man. He's just trying to rest. You do this all the time. So long story short, we kept on running. Next thing I know, I see a brown stain on my man's pants. That's what we're ready to what is. And then I got a little stench. I was like, man, no, you didn't just do that, bro. Me and Josh talking to each other like, man, you tripping, dog. What you got going on? He was like, bro, I told y'all I had to go. So that's when the first time that I saw a coach actually run the crap out of that guy. So
Oh, like
literally.
literally.
Right.
That's hysterical. Was that when you first got there? Or was that later on?
No, that's when Coach Saban first got there. I got down there summer of '06, and he didn't come to the spring of '07. So
Yeah. So it's
that's
been
when,
a year. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Man, what?
So what's it feel like now not playing? Is like how like waking up in the morning, like is there a big difference? Is it weird? Obviously I want you to get in because I know you just kind of started coaching, so I want you to talk about that a little bit too if you want to. But yeah, waking up not having to think about summer workouts, not having to, well, I guess now it's like preseason for all those guys in the league and like getting ready to like really hit the ground running. What's that been like for you, kind of that transition?
The transitions have been really well. My wife and I, we had a plan coming into retirement, so everything's been going really well. Like you just said, I got into coaching. Been doing the O-line training aspect of just giving those guys opportunity to work with someone who's actually done it, been successful at high level, at all levels, been successful, and just giving those guys those gems. Just certain tendencies, knowing what that's one thing that Chad Slade and I see big manufacturers knowing what to anticipate. Because if you go to the game, go to the line with a game plan, you're executing 9 out of 10. Because linemen most of the time are like one of the smartest group of guys in football. Because we only can be successful if 5 of us are hitting at the same time. If
Yeah.
5 of us hitting like piano keys, then the play's not going to work. So that's just been real cool about getting into online coaching.
Yeah. How'd you guys team up? You and Chad?
Actually, Chad Slade and I, we worked out together in Birmingham, a gym called Godspeed here, and we worked out together. I say about 6 years, 6 to 7
Oh
years.
wow. Yeah.
Uh, we just always had a great rapport, and he actually started lineman training camp probably like 3 weeks before I did. So it just like how it all just coincided, worked well together, and we just like he wanted to do O-line training, I wanted to do O-line training, so we just decided to join forces, and it's been great. It's been very it's been very giving to be able to give those kids feels very good to the heart. just to give those kids the opportunity, just to know those things that we didn't have opportunity to get or get those just those coaching ideas.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because obviously, like following you in on social and stuff like that. Big Man Factory. By the way, I love the name and the logo is dope as shit. Not gonna lie. I
I
don't know if
appreciate it.
you don't know if you created that, you got the creative gene or what, but it is pretty badass. What's kind of like your vision with that? Obviously, because you just kind of started that over the last, I don't know, handful of months or so. Like where do you
Right.
want to see? Like, what's the vision now, and like what would kind of like the ultimate dream vision of that look like?
You know what? I'm just taking a day at a time. Whoever God leads me to, which way to go. But I'm just, grinding. Hopefully, we end up in the build. I want to get a building, like storefront, and have where people actually come in and get work, with the proper equipment. But we're just gonna take it a day at a time. Everything's been going really well. Like I live in Alabama, fortunately, so weather's not really a bad thing. We might have to deal
Right.
with rain from time, but other than that, it's always gonna be sunny, hot, and dry for the most part. But like I said, I'm just taking it a day at a time. Just grinding with our clientele's growing every day. So it's been going really well.
Yeah. So how's it how did you I don't know if you got lured in, sucked into like the coaching the high school coaching world how'd that all transpire?
Oh man, like I said, Chaz and I have been working together, and he actually was already coaching at Moody the season prior to, so he coached there the season last year in 22, and he had a little bit experience, working with the O line, and like I said, we joined forces, and then we decided. He asked me, he and Jake talked about me joining the staff, and I just thought about like the opportunity presented itself. I mean, besides the personal training stuff I had going on, I said, why not? And it's been great. It's been very fun. A lot of joy, a lot of great days. It's always grind days for offensive line, but just to see the guys get better and better every day, and just to see how hard they work and how they want to be successful. Because as a player, you never. It's like you don't want to be good at what you do. It's not like
Right.
you like trying out there and intentionally mess up. But just to see those guys like really work hard and really buy into what Chad and I are saying, it's been really great.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I was talking with a group of college coaches, yes, the day before yesterday, and like how powerful it is to have somebody you look up to believe in you, right? Like the idea is a lot of these kids probably like look up to you and Chad, like in terms of like whether it's personally and then obviously like from an athletic realm too. And I know you mentioned it before, is like being able to give them these little gems here and there, but I feel like a lot of the superpower probably comes from just talking with them as people, right? Like, hey, like you may not have it now, like that's okay. And to get that sense of like belief from somebody else has got to be like super empowering.
Yeah, I mean, me for if I had somebody that played in the league and was really successful in college and high school telling me that, hey, if you just do this and do this, like I would be like heads over heels for it. But just to see those guys light up when we pour into those guys, those the hard work and that offensive line, I believe it's the hardest sport in football because we never take a snap off. We never come off the field. And then, like I said, defensive line, they may play 50 snaps in the game, but if there's 75 snaps in the game, who's playing the other 25?
Right,
so,
right.
so just, go against those guys and just to compete at a high level and just for those guys to believe in everything that we say has been really great. Like, we have a great group of young men. I mean, they work extremely hard.
Yeah. Did you kind of come in with I don't know if system is the right word, but like something like, okay, like, hey, here's where we're going to start, like a process, I guess, or a framework in terms of like, hey, like this is where we are. This is kind of where I see you. Like, let's be patient. We're going to like, this is the end point. We're going to get there, but like, it's not going to be tomorrow. Is that kind of how you've approached it with them?
Fortunate enough, Coach Slade, he did a really good job in preparing the guys. So they were like pretty advanced as far as like knowing the terminology that I was speaking when I came in, the technique, the way that it needed to be done. Like I'm telling you, these guys over there, like they're like really, really like some really hardworking young men, and They might not, all of them may not have the athletic ability, but their effort, you can't teach them effort. Effort comes from within. So just the drive and just the way they work has been really impressive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm interested too, like as you work to, I like to use the word like transform them as people and transform them as athletes and really like guide them down the path, like where they want to go in terms of like their athletic dreams is what was, I guess this is kind of a twofold question is like what was, because like you said, like you kind of had to like experience it and learn it on your own. You didn't necessarily have like that tour guide going from high school to college and then college from the pro level. So like what are some of the things that like once you stepped on campus to college, like that you had to start to transform yourself to be as successful as you were, and then and then also like going from college to pro, because that's a whole different level as well. Like, what are some of the things that you had to step into and like really transform yourself as a person so that you can play like over a decade and kind of like break the percentage in terms of like how long so many or how long so many professional athletes play. What was some of that transformation like for you?
Oh man, really just learning really to take care of your body. That was one thing that I learned when I got to NFL. I really didn't know much about it when I got to the league, but I really didn't learn. I mean, I had guys tell me to get massages and things like that, but man, I don't feel bad. I feel good. Like my first 2, 3 years, like I feel amazing, bro. Like I don't need all that. Like y'all tripping. Like, and then, fortunate enough, I got on the team with the guy James Harrison. Everybody thinks James just is like
Crazy.
big asshole of a guy, but he's a phenomenal teammate. He actually got me into acupuncture and like deep tissue massages and whatnot, and I can see the change in my game when I actually started doing it when it came to game day and the recovery time. Because in football, it's like every play is like a car crash, a mini car crash
Right, right,
in
right.
the trenches. I mean, you're banging every play. There's hardly any plays that you get to play off where you don't hit someone. So, I mean, just like for him to come in and teach us those things, I mean, just to get it from him, like I said, like those guys telling me how to take care of their body, like me telling those guys how to become great offensive linemen. He taught me how to take care of my body the proper way to be a better NFL football player. So that was one thing that I learned from him, and him being as successful as he was in the NFL. Why not listen to James Harrison?
Totally.
He's already a freak of a human being for the way that he looks, the way he walks around. And just to have that insider knowledge on how to take care of your body just a little bit better, and that was like amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
What about
it
with
like flipped the switch, and I think that's what helped prolong.
do you feel like a lot of guys
What is that?
or do you feel like a lot of guys like miss the boat on that in terms of like why some make it over a decade and some make it 4 or 5 years? Like, do you feel like that's like a big factor in terms of like you said, you come in, you're 22, 23 years old, you're like, shit, I feel good. Like, I don't, I don't need to do all that. And then after 1,000 car crashes, like you said, it's like, it's all like it can almost be too late at that point for a lot of people just because they don't realize like the wear and tear that it's actually done on their bodies.
Um, it's just like, man, like, the game's violent. It is what it is. Like, I enjoy playing the game of football. That's why, like, this time away, like, I can't see myself taking on a bull rush right now. Like, I will
Yeah.
any part of a bull rush right now. And I don't want to, like, run block anybody. I don't want to do any of that. Like, I want those guys to be successful. Those guys that are doing it right now, to keep grinding. They're doing a great job. The game's evolving and it's getting faster and faster and better,
Yeah.
better every year. And the games is just great. And what was that question you asked me one more time?
Like in terms of, do you feel like that's why a lot of guys, once they make the league, is they miss the boat on like how how well to actually take care of their bodies? Because when they're coming in, like you said at first, like you're like, bro, I'm 22, like I feel fine, like it's not that big of a deal. And then all of a sudden you wake up one morning, you're like, what the fuck just happened to my body? Like,
Right,
do
right.
you feel
But and
like that's
then
like that big missing gap for a lot of the young guys?
right, then it's also like a lot of guys that like get drafted high, they have a lot of success early in their career and They might not even want to play for a second deal. They get all the money they want out of their rookie deal. Might not even want to play anymore. Then there's guys who, unfortunately, everybody get hurt at some point in time playing football. That's a part of the game. And then there's also just like the learning aspect of football, knowing the X's and O's in and out. You have to be consistent in the NFL in order to stay. Like it's hard to make it in the NFL because new talent comes in every single year. Somebody that's vying for a job, or someone that's looking, or a new rookie that's got the big deal they just signed, who's a first round pick. Like who's going to get play time just because he's a first round pick? Like you have different situations like that, and you just have to prepare every year as if you were the same rookie coming in. And a lot of guys don't know how to do that. They get comfortable and with what they have, whatever they have going on. Some guys might be thriving off the field and may like think like this rookie deal may be the only deal they get. But
Yeah.
it's just it's just all about that person and their personality, where they come from, and their desire to be successful. But I was fortunate enough to go to Alabama, where Coach Saban implemented early that ones versus ones are always going to be the thing that we're going to do. So it's going to be one defense versus one offense all the time. And competition brings the best out of a man. So I learned that early on. Like Coach Saban's gonna bring the best of the best in, and y'all gonna compete against each other. And then when y'all go out there on Saturday, the game's gonna seem easy. And that's exactly what happened in year two with Coach Saban. And like I said, he laid the foundation, and we're still standing on that foundation right now. I mean, like, he's done a phenomenal job down there.
There's no question about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was the biggest
And I
like?
was happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. What was the biggest like as you
The
came
biggest
in?
what?
Like, what was the biggest
It's
as you
lag.
came? I know. All right, got me.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. What was the biggest? What was that big transition like from high school to college? And I guess it's almost two because you kind of went through a coaching change, and that's different. Like no matter who it is, no matter what it is, like there's just differences in that and learning to adapt to that. So what was some of those, I guess, like learning moments and how you had to adapt, like as a person and as a player?
Well, basically, they don't have to be nice to you anymore when you get down. The Mr. Nice Guy role goes out the window. As soon as you commit, sign that letter of intention, and you're down there day one, all that goes out the window. But
They were so
like I
nice on
had
my recruiting trip, though.
yeah, I had Rocky Colburn, who was the strength coach from Atlanta Falcons at the time, and he was my strength coach with Coach Shula my freshman year. And I actually got a high ankle sprain while doing the walkbacks. That's when you run like 40 yards, but you got to walk back. And you got to be back for a certain time. By the time the whistle blows, it's time to take off again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I rolled my ankle doing that, some type of freak away. I rolled my ankle, so I got injured like early summer going into my freshman year. So it was like a point like I didn't know whether I was gonna play or not. And then just having to like go to rehab. Like I had never got injured in high school. Like I didn't know about going to rehab and anything. Just figuring out like doing the rehab and having to go to class and waking up early in the morning, make sure I'm on time for rehab and learning how to operate with crutches and whatnot. So like just to go through that was one hard transition that I had to figure out. Like I had never been injured. Like I didn't know what to do. Like I'm freaking out. Like, man, I'm about to be on the bench. I'm about to have a red shirt here because I'm like, man, I'm on this 3-year plan. Like I want to be here for 3 years and I'm out. Like I don't want to like I want to be 3 years and done. So like I had that going on, but fortunately enough, my ankle healed up well, and I was able to start training camp on time, and the rest is history. That was one transition, and then probably one of the biggest transitions with Coach Saban from Coach Shula was he was the food, man. Coach Saban was so strict on the food, bro. Oh my god. Coach Saban had me, Terrence, Cody, who else? Josh Chapman, who else? Alex Stadler. It was probably about six, maybe 6 or 7 of us. Man, we were eating like birds seemingly. When Coach Saban got down there, man, like breakfast, breakfast was like uh, a already cooked Eggo waffle, cut up into like halves on the table. Then we had some eggs. Then we had like a piece of bacon and
So
maybe
were
like a
y'all's plates already made? Like, was it like, or was it
yes,
like,
they were already pre-made. Yes, yes,
no
yes.
buffet style anymore? No buffet.
No buffet. Oh, and a piece of steak. A piece of steak. So I'm going my rookie year. That's what I'm eating for pregame. Like every pregame, I'll eat waffle, eggs, steak. Every pregame. That's all I know. That's what I learned from Go Save, and that's all we
Yeah.
did. And then later on in my career, I'm like, man, they're like, dude, why you eat the same thing? I'm like, man, this is what I know from Go Save. I'm like, man, bro, you can't eat like that before the game, bro. You gotta get you some of these hash browns. You gotta get you some of this other stuff, some omelet maybe. Like you got all this stuff. But like nah, but that's like one of the biggest changes was Coach Saban was the food, man. Oh my god, it was like a shell shock, bro. It was a shell
Yeah.
shock
Yeah. Yeah.
for everybody. It was a
What did
culture
y'all eat
shock.
with Coach
Yeah.
Shula?
Man, listen here. Like Friday nights before the game, people would not eat all freaking day, bro. Like waiting on this pregame meal, like night before the game. Like we would have like fried chicken, macaroni, green beans, mashed potatoes, dinner rolls. We would have like ice cream or cookies for dessert. Like this would be like every home game, like every Friday night. We like even away games we would eat like this. Like when we went down to play down to Baton Rouge my rookie year, my freshman year. That was by far one of the best pregame meals I ever had. I don't know what the hotel had going down in Baton Rouge playing at LSU. They had that Crystal's hot sauce on the table, man. It was so good. It was so
Oh. So
good.
I guess too is since we're kind of like talking about college days, is like you said, like Coach Saban like really laid like the foundation of like even like where they are today in terms of literally always competing kind of national championship or bust. It's kind of like literally being the best of the best or bust. What do you feel like from teams that you played on that reached that pinnacle, that won national titles versus teams that weren't as successful? What were some of like the differences? And you could even compare from like college to pro too. If there was a successful season to college versus an unsuccessful season in pro, like what are some of the differences in terms of that?
Uh, you know, I would say the transition was probably from the '07 to '08 season. Cause Saban, he really like that '07, '07 all season program, like Mac drills they would call it. We call it the fourth quarter program down in Alabama. Man, it was so freaking long. Like it was like 8 weeks. It felt like Ryan. It was so long, bro. We started re-giving gifts that we gave out at the beginning. Like that's how long it was. Like Coach Saban worked the crap out of us that '07 season going, but we didn't play that well. Um, we played okay. We made it to a ball game. We
Yeah.
lost in the ball game, but the next year's really when you've seen a big jump from in the program. You know, we won like 12 games that year, and I think we lost two that year. And you just saw like everybody just really bought into it. Whatever Coach Saban was saying at the time of preaching to us about
Yeah.
and how to do like each play only lasts for 6 to 5, maybe anywhere from 5 to 7.5 seconds. This is the length of a play on any level, like in high school, college, or NFL. So if you can give me your hardest effort for 5 to 7 seconds, then and get that 40-second time to relax and rest and get a reset during that 40-second break, in between each play, like then you're gonna be successful. So that '08 season, that was all the O line was thinking, like, hey, bro, we go hard for 5 to 6 seconds, bro. We're gonna have success. And long story short, like we went out there and kicked butt every Saturday. Like that O line that year, me, Marlon, Drew Davis, Justin Britt, Antoine Carwell, man, we were winning jokers out there. Even I watched this recent show about Florida Gators.
Yeah. 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 That Swamp King
Had a
show.
few highlights on the game that we played them in the SEC championship. I saw myself on there, and I'm like, man, them dudes weren't even that good. like they were good, but they weren't like that. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Like we had closed the gap on them. Like my freshman year, they were way better than us. not want to even say way better than us. They beat us by like I want to say by a team maybe 7 or less at the end of the game. Reggie Nelson, who actually ended up being my teammate in Cincinnati for like 6 years, he ended up having like a pick six in the game and took it back to the house and they ended up like sealing the game. I think they won by like 10, but they didn't like beat us like that. But the one thing I learned from Coach Saban, from Coach Shula, going back, spinning back to that was learning how to finish in the fourth quarter. Like with
Yeah,
Coach
yeah.
Shula, we didn't know how to finish at all. Like we would play really good and set up for field goals. We didn't know how to finish. That was one thing that was like we really struggled with on offense was learning how to finish. And then Coach Saban came in and flipped the switch for us, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Why do you feel like he's so I'm making a little bit of assumption here based off what you said, but like you use the word like we all like kind of that second year is like when everybody really got bought in. And so like to me, that's like that becomes a coach's superpower. I think of it like if you're rafting, right? Like you want, in your case, 80, 90, 100 people all rowing in the same direction. You don't want some people rowing left, some people rowing backwards. That becomes like you get faster and faster and faster, exponentially better and better and better the more people start rowing in the same direction. Like why do you like, or I guess maybe how or why, like was he so successful as like in terms of like getting you guys bought in turn like to go from where you were in his first year to his second year?
Oh man, yeah, that's why I tell a lot of people. I don't tell a lot of people. I tell a few people this that Coach Saban wasn't Coach Saban. They everybody knows today when he first got to Bama, he was the Coach Saban who just won one national championship and went to the NFL. Didn't really have a lot of success in the NFL, but now he's
Right.
back in college. And my biggest thing was me meeting him and knowing getting building a relationship was that he knew what it takes to be successful on every level. Even though he wasn't successful as a head coach, he was successful as an assistant coach while being in the NFL and just having his connections and knowing the success that he had at LSU really elevated everybody played in Alabama at the university at the time because they knew that we had a guy who knew how to win and knew what it took to win. And it was just, I mean, it was just like he cut a light switch on for everybody.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody, everybody in the Tuscaloosa or anybody that was Alabama fans, just like he just reignited something that had been asleep for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost like Phil Jackson Jedi Knight ish. I feel
Right,
like that
right,
is like
right,
his superpower. Like I can crawl in your brain and start to just plant seeds, whether it's believing in yourself or believing in the team.
right.
Do
And
you think
then
that
he like,
go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say is do you think that I don't want to say like okay with like the way that his first season went, but do you think that was kind of part of the master plan? Is like, hey, it's gonna take a year to like really lay this foundation to get everybody like all rowing in the same direction to where it's like now we've built the snowball effect. Now we've built this ball rolling so fast that it's going to be impossible for many people to ever stop us.
I think it was like Saban, like when he came in 07, he didn't really. He had like 1 year to get his guys in, and those guys
Yeah.
weren't. He had to get rid of the guys that weren't his guys. He had to let those not get rid of them, but let those guys play their last year out or last few years at Alabama. Then he would have the guys that he wanted in the positions where he wanted to play. And I think that was one thing that made us successful. Like he was really well at he did really well at recruiting early on, like getting we had some really good guys down there. You had myself, I was the number one player in the country coming out of high school. So I had already committed to Alabama prior to Coach Saban getting down there. Then you
Why
had like
Bama? Why Bama?
oh man, I wanted to build a tradition, man. Like a legacy that would last forever, man.
Yeah.
I always visioned the Alabama being a great, successful program. And I just wanted to be one of those cornerstones to help build a program and elevate it and keep it up there. And I'm just happy and glory be the guy that he gave me the ability to do those things that I did while I was down there.
Yeah, yeah. That's super cool. Super cool. All right, most fun thing about playing in the league.
was fun. Getting paid, basically. We didn't have NIL deals in college when we were there. I wonder what my NIL deal would have been when I was in college.
I was literally about to ask, how
Uh,
crazy do you think it would have
my
been like
time.
with you guys?
I think it would have been bananas. I just think God allowed things to happen at certain times. I don't think I would have been mature enough, me personally, to be getting $1 million in college. Like $1 million to me, a kid from Birmingham, Alabama. Like $1 million in college. Like what? I ain't
Yeah.
gotta go to the league. I'm gonna stay in college forever. You know what I'm saying? But I just think
But
everything happened for a reason.
do you think that that's going to happen? Because they're literally, I forget. I saw this post somebody on Twitter, and it was like a couple. I don't even remember who it was, but it was like comparing their NIL deals to, and I don't remember. It was some big name like NFL players that were still on like minimum league contracts, and it was like these 18, 19 year olds are making like double, three, and four times like some of what are these bigger name like
Right.
NFL. Do you think that it's going to keep people in playing college sports?
I think so, especially if you're like you're a big name guy, like a 5-star player, like that gives you like landing space right there. Like you got a long landing strip right there just because you're a 5-star player. People are gonna want you to promote that brand if you're the right
Yeah.
person for them. They're gonna push you, promote them and that gives and then if you go to college and have success as a freshman, sophomore, and you're gonna stay 2 more years, go ahead, get the
Yeah.
money, then leave and go to college. If you like, it's all up to how you feel. But I know Caleb Williams, the kid
At USC.
out in USC, talking about he's gonna come back for his senior year. He's not gonna. I don't think. I think he's just full of crap. He's not gonna miss out on no $35 million as opposed to $10 billion. He's just shooting smoke up everybody's butt.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Most difficult. Let's go the opposite side. Most difficult or stressful or not fun, however you want to language it about playing league.
Oh man, probably get fined for
What are some of the I feel like I've heard there's a lot of dumb fine rules.
like back in the day, they don't trip on stuff now. It used to be like your socks slim. Like if you had skin showing, like if you didn't pull your sock up right away, you would get fined. Like let's say you played with your socks rolled down to your ankles halfway through the first half, through the game, and you decide to pull them up in the second half, they still gonna send you a fine. And then it was like the ice shield, like the tenant advisors,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they would be like a couple of $1,000 fine. Just like crazy stuff. Like even if you like, let's say that you and the guy blocking, you got your hand up high on the guy, you're blocking him, and the running back come cut his leg underneath. The running back got to pay like maybe like a $12,000 fine on that. You know what I'm saying? Just because
yeah,
he high loading, but the running back didn't see I had my hand on the guy at the time, so the league will still fine you for stuff like that.
yeah,
Even if the ref don't call it in the game, they'll come back and fine you for just little stuff like that. Probably getting
yeah,
fined. That's probably the worst. And probably the weight, like I deal with weight early on in my career, and probably the weight cost like every pound was like $596, something like that. So every pound you're overweight, they fine you $596. So if you 500 pounds over, that's 500 times 500. I mean, 50 pounds. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
yeah. That's wild. Wild. Most fun moment or joyful,
Uh,
exciting moment.
Probably my most memorable moment I can while playing in the league was probably my 2018 season. No, 17 was it? What was it? Hmm. It was 2000 and no, it was 2017 when no, dang, I can't remember what year. I think it was 2017, and even the 2015 season. Remember, was when we played the Seahawks. We ended up beat them at the last play of the game. They had us down by like 17 points going to the second half, and like, oh man, the Bengals they lost. They wrapped it up, and then Mike Nugent ended up in the field goal at the end of the game. And then I say in 2017 when I was rated PFF Highest rated lineman of the week, and against the Tennessee Titans, I had a heck of a game that year. That game, and that was really fun and exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Couple more. Describe draft day.
Oh man! So I had two cell phones at the time, and maybe like a week prior to, maybe 2 weeks prior to the draft, not the Giants, the Lions at the time had the number one draft pick, and Martin Mayer, who was the GM at the time, he sent me a message said if I get down to 315 that they'll draft me. And I didn't make it down to 315. I got down to 325.
Yeah,
And they ended up not drafting me. And so they ended up drafting Matthew Stafford, which is cool. Matthew Stafford, he's still in the NFL. He's had a tremendous career. He got him a championship with the Rams. He played really well for Detroit. They just never had enough to get over the top. But like they drafted Matthew, and then number two was what's that guy name? The tackle Jason Smith. I think got drafted by the Rams.
okay,
And number
yeah,
three, uh, the defense end from Wake Forest. I can't remember his name right now. I'm drawing a blank. Uh, I can't remember who number four. Number five was Mark Sanchez, and I was like, I went. Then I was like, looking at all these draft picks go by. I'm like, man, my supposed to Ben got drafted. Like, what's going on?
yeah.
So I look at the phone, make sure my phone work. I called the phone that all the teams had number to make sure it was working. Then I saw the number pop up. I said, all right, the phone working, so I ain't tripping. So all those picks, lo and behold, go by, and then the numbers. Then, but going back to that, like even in the combine, like me and Marvin Lewis, we didn't see eye to eye. Like we got to arguing. He was like, "Why are you not working out?" I'm like, I feel I can get my best pro day at Bama. Like I'm not here to pat these guys on the back and tell them good job. Like I'm not here for that. I'm just here to do my interviews and I'm doing my pro day at Bama. And just they then me and him got into it like a little confrontational. Then I had a talk with my agent, like, hey man, I don't know what's going on. But the Bengals are most definitely out of the equation. Like they're not going to draft me. Like me and the head coach just really got into it. Like long story short, then they end up bringing me in for during the draft period. Before you get drafted, they take you in for interviews. If the team really likes you,
Yeah,
they'll bring you for an interview. You stay the night. They take you to the best restaurant in town. They feed you the best food possible. They get the coaches to be around you just to check you out, to see what type of player you are, to see if you're someone that can help this community and help this franchise to elevate it. So most trips last one night. You fly in that day, midday. You're there all night. And then if they have some more medical stuff they want you to do, they'll take you to see that doctor just to make sure you check out medically. And then you go visit with the coaches. You go to dinner, and you wake up the next morning. You might come in for one more meeting with the O-line coach or something. Then you may fly out. Well, I had to stay in Cincinnati for 2 nights, so that was kind of weird. Like I stayed for one night, then my agent called me and said, Cincinnati, I want to keep you for one more night. And I was like, one more night, man, I don't want to be in Cincinnati for one more night. Bro, they had me in the crappiest hotel in Cincinnati. Like I love Cincinnati Bengals. They are like my favorite organization. They gave me my first opportunity to be like break generational wealth to the family, bring it to the
right.
family. But they had me in the crappiest hotel in downtown Cincinnati. It's not even there anymore. It's called the Millennium Hotel, man. When I tell you, by far one of the worst hotels in Cincinnati. Did you? Nah, you ain't never go by there. But it was the Millennium Hotel, right? So they had me there. I stayed there one night, and then I had to stay there another night. And I went to dinner and breakfast with the O-line coach every day. And he just was picking my brains. Named Paul Alexander, and we were just kicking in and everything ended up vibing out. Like I said, I called my phone, it did work. So then I saw a 513 number pop up on the phone. And I asked my mom, she used to work for the post office, so she knows all the area
Eric,
codes and
yeah, yeah,
whatnot. I said,
yeah.
513 number. And she's like, that's Cincinnati, Ohio. So I answered the phone. And he was like, hey, man, this is Marvin Lewis, big fella. We're going to draft you at number 6. You remember what we talked about? Like, you got to come in with your head focused because we're going to depend on you early. And I was like, yes, sir. And I appreciate it. And then they drafted me at the number 6 spot. So, yeah, that's how it happened. But I'm glad that I didn't
That's
like it could have went the other
hilarious.
way. You know what I'm saying? I could have. did been obnoxious in the meeting and ruined everything or had a bad visit. You know what I'm
Well, I was gonna
saying?
say is like not saying you were immature, but it was like a huge moment of maturity right there too, especially
Right,
that young and about to make a shit ton of money and being like,
right,
God
right,
damn, like these guys, like shit.
right, right.
So how'd y'all's
So I talked to my
relationship turn out with Marvin?
oh man, our relationship's been great. Actually, I talked to him about a week ago, and he's out there working at Arizona State. Been like a quality control, to like type make sure everything stays in order.
Yeah.
I guess type thing for the defense. And he's just been doing a great job, man. And he said he's like he's made a medal now. He's had a couple of procedures done. He said my whole body's made a medal now. That's been like pretty funny story.
Yeah. One more question, and then like kind of like my
You
final
breaking
like
up?
you got me? Oh,
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
okay.
We're
Um,
good.
any as an athlete, one more question, and then we'll kind of like tie up like kind of the wrap up question. Any regrets as an athlete? High school, college, pro, anything that you like, if you could go back, whether it be a maturity thing, like whatever it may be, like any regrets, like you wish you could maybe have gone a different path, different decision, different route.
Um, my biggest thing, I wish I regret just making sure I picked the right people to hang around early in my career. You know,
Yeah.
picking the right circle, making sure you hang around people that have the same aspects, that ambitions that you have. You know, to want to be great in every level, in everything they do, just to drive, and have the ability to reach it, obtain it some type of way. Just make sure you circle yourself around those type of people that have the same ambitions as you.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I learned early on in my career.
Yeah.
Which
I
I,
love that.
mhm.
All right, last one. So, all right, what is your it could be to athletes. I call it like, what's your core message to the world? And the best way to describe it is if you were asked today to stand inside a stadium full of like 90,000 people and you could only deliver like one message, you could only tell them one thing, what would that message? And as you kind of think about it, I'll tell like for me is like, and it's a big reason of like why I started the podcast. And I want to have conversations with people because I believe that just like you have talked about today, it's like you created all these unique opportunities for yourself. I believe that like we are in a very real sense, like the creators of our life. Like we go out, we make the decisions, we decide who we're going to surround ourselves with, and we enable build this identity in this person that allows us to succeed and excel in whatever ways that we actually desire in life. And I know people get tired of like listening to me talk about it. And so I believe like stories move people, right? And so to hear your story and to hear anybody else's story, I think that gives people a greater sense of certainty that they can go out and do things in their life, that they can. I don't want to give it hope because like I think hope is a little bit like desperate, but I think it enables them to actually start pulling the trigger, maybe in one more thing, or maybe it's towards something that they actually desire. And so that's kind of like my core message is like you are the creator. Whatever it is you want, like take a step back and really define it and create that person and go out and live it. And so for you is like as you've graduated from sports, so to speak, and like now you're in this mentor and coaching role and being around, young athletes, and you've got a family, and I know faith is pretty big in your life. Like what's that core message for you?
Oh man, my core message would be that basically like I've always been like a hard farm believer, like anything worth one is working hard for. So like as an athlete, if you want to be successful as an athlete, you're gonna have to bust your butt. You're gonna have to do more than what the guy next to you is doing. If you really want to be that guy and be successful, you have to like push yourself to be the best person that you could possibly both on the field and off the field, and also operating in integrity. What are you doing when people are not looking?
Yeah.
That's one thing that I also firm believer of. Like, make sure you're the same person that you are when you're not around people that you are when you're by yourself. Like, make sure you're the same person. Don't ever switch up, and make sure you stay true to yourself. Stay true to your morals, whatever they may be. I hope they're all good morals. Just make sure that you stay firm on whatever you believe in, and you know, I believe that faith without works is dead, meaning that I can have all the faith that everything's gonna work out, but I know if I haven't put in the work to order to put myself in position to be successful, that my faith is like in vain. So I believe in that. So just like just being a good person, like you don't have to be an asshole in order to be successful. That's one thing that I also believe too. Like it's okay to be an asshole a little bit, but you don't have to be an asshole to be successful.
Right, right. Yeah. I love that, man. I love it. Man, well, I appreciate you taking the time to jump on with me and selfishly appreciate like catching up. You know, I know it's been a little while since we got to like sit down and chat. 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't even know how many years it's been since we like
Yeah,
sat
man, you
down and
got
just shot the
kids
shit.
now, wife and stuff, time flies.
Like literally, I know it's like, damn, that is crazy. I have a kid. Oh my God.
Yeah, daddy right.
How wild is that? So yeah, like selfishly, I know that's part of the reason too, is like I wanted you to jump on just to sit down, catch up here. Like I said, I firmly believe is stories are what move people. I think that that's why we all like go to the movies and stuff like that, because like we can get emotional in it, we can get motivated by it, we can be inspired by it. And so that's kind of like my goal with this. So I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right. Until next time, love you.